What's up, it's you for today's video with a full worm Pokemon team. Throughout the years, I've done a couple of worm teams, and they're always quite a challenge, filled with very weak Pokemon with very shallow move pools. So I did a lot of battles with this worm team, and I finally wormed my way into action and got you some good content. Today's going to actually be quite a long video, so I hope you sit back, relax, enjoy, get some food, have a drink, and chill with me. If you enjoy the videos, people, and the content, please leave a like on the video and tell me what your favorite worm or worm-like Pokemon is. Let me know all about it. I want to see what the most popular one is. Alright, first random opponent here. I have no idea what the trainer name is. We have got a Miraidon lead. I've never seen this one in my life before. So we've got a Hyper Beam I don't know, for some reason it says Maride or Marid instead of the full name. I'm not really sure, but it used Hyper Beam. So I've got this little Swaddle, and Swaddle is going to be my sticky web user here. So this one is max attack and max speed, and I've got Jolly Nature. The ability is Swarm, and I've got Focus Sash, and I've also got Worry Seed, which can be handy at times to change the opponent's ability around to Insomnia. I've got Lunge and Flail. So I did sort of my best work there against Miraidon. I wasn't really expecting to feign it, but it got web up, right? And I got a little bit of damage. Next Pokemon is going to be the mighty Scatterbug. Scatterbug learns very, very few moves. It's a difficult Pokemon to use in general. To even get anything, squeeze anything out of it is super hard. So I was thinking to myself, I could try and poison this. Like, what do I do here? I'll try to, slow this Pokemon down. It's going to go for its Electro Drift, and that is the end of the Scatterbug. It's going to the Shadow Realm, so there's not a lot I can do here. So the next Pokemon is going to be Snom. Now, Snom is a pretty cool Pokemon. Snom actually gets Mirror Coat, so I'm going to actually make use of Mirror Coat. But of course, on this turn, they swap for some reason. So I'm not sure what was going on in their mind when they seen Snom and they swapped with the Miraidon, only on PIMPNITE channel. So I'm not sure what was happening there, but it was a bit unfortunate because I had my Mirror Coat fail there. Now, the other moves Snom has got, it doesn't really learn that many either. A little bit more than the other worms, though. It is Mirror Coat, Bug Buzz, Icy Wind, and Fairy Wind. And it's got Sash as the item, Focus Sash, and ability is going to be Shield Dust. Max Speed and Max Special Attack, Naive Nature. So I did a swap there. I thought, gee, I think I might have, I might leave that Snom for later on. So I swapped into my Dudunsparce here. This is a super duper tanky set. It's an Assault Vest set, so max health and max defense. Bold Nature with an Assault Vest. It's got a Serene Grace as the ability with Ancient Power. So I was just playing around with this and actually got a boost on the very first go of it, which is really cool. So with Serene Grace, the 10% chance is doubled to 20%. So I got a 20% chance to get an Omni boost, basically. So a +1 in every single stat there. So I got confused. They actually use Alluring Voice, which is really funny and really lucky that I got a boost there. And then I got another one. It's like, wow, this is good. I'm like super thick, right? I might be able to get the Dudunsparce sweep here. This is the Dudunsparce sweep I was been trying to get for a while, but it's completely luck based, right? So I wasn't really sure. Anyway, so we got a Sludge Wave Mew. This Mew had a couple of interesting moves. I didn't get poisoned, which is good. And this also has Ice Beam, Flamethrower, and Boom Burst. I gave it Stellar as the Terra, so I could get a power boost on some of my other different types of moves there. So out goes Mew, in comes Ogerpon. Clearly they're going to try and crit me with a signature move here, and of course it got a Defiant boost from the Sticky Web too, which is kind of bad. And when I went for an attacking move, I hit myself a Confusion, which really sucks because I was going to go for a Boom Burst there. So I'm thinking, all right, I could just go for a normal Ice Beam and see what happens. So I outspeed, which was really cool. I've only got +2 in speed. I've got no speed EVs whatsoever. I've got no special attack EVs. But I got a Freeze Axe on the Ogerpon, so Serene Grace was doubled. But then they ate a berry. I'm like, why? Here's a Citrus Berry, right? But the health didn't go up. It was the Orange Berry Ogerpon, only on PIMPNITE channel with that Freeze Axe. So I was like, this is good, right? They got that Orange Berry, but I got the Freeze Axe. So I snap out of Confusion. I went for another Ancient Power. I was trying to get another boost. I was like, I'm getting really good luck right now, and it didn't happen. But I took the Ogerpon out. That was going to really hurt with Ivy Cudgel at the +2. So next Pokemon is going to be Calyrex. Calories. I got to eat some food and then I'm going to have some calories. Sorry, I had to do that. So I'm thinking here, I could go for Stella and I could go for Ancient Power. That's a good idea, but I don't know if they're going to like Terror or anything like that. So I decided to go for Stella Dudunsparce and then go for Flamethrower. So I thought, you know, I've got +2 in special attack, I've got a super effective, I've got the 1.2 on Stellar boost. This is going to do a lot of damage, right? It is a bulky Pokemon though, so I wasn't 100% sure, and it lived. Only just though, so I guess that's what happens when you run no special attack EVs, right? So they're going to go for Glacial Lance. That does donkeys. I've got max health and max defense, bold nature, +2 in defense. So I am not even going to take a scratch from this thing. So going for Ancient Power here, getting that Stellar boost. I wanted to see if I get another boost here, and it didn't happen. I was happy with 2 anyway. So 2 Pokemon down. Dudunsparce is sweeping their team, right? Next Pokemon gonna be a Mewtwo, right? Got that green tail. So it's got Unnerve ability. It's gonna get caught in the sticky web. Now Mewtwo's a very fast Pokemon, so I wasn't really sure if I'd outspeed this because I only had +2 and no speed EVs whatsoever. But I did outspeed. I got the Boom Burst off, but Mewtwo had a Focus Sash. I'm like, what is going on in this battle? So Mewtwo had a Focus Sash. I'm like, all right, it's probably going to use a fighting move. But then, wait, watch this, right? This is no cap. He goes for Ice Beam, freezes me. I'm like, what? So I was like, this is crazy. Like, the RNG is all over the place. So I was like, wait, I can go for Flamethrower. So I thaw myself out with a Flamethrower, right? And I cook off that Mewtwo. And that is 3 Pokemon down here. So I'm thinking, man, this is it. You know, I finally got the Dudunsparce sweep after all this time, you know, trying a lot of time. And next Pokemon is that Mew we seen earlier on. Now, from what I've seen with this Mew, it didn't really do a lot of damage. It was more of a tanky set, and it had like a wide variety of moves. So I dropped that with a nice Boom Burst. I was never really worried about that Mew, especially after those boosts. So 4 Pokemon down. Out comes Miraid or Miraid, I don't know how to say that. And it's got Sticky Webs. Like, I don't know if I outspeed this either because they're very, very fast Pokemon, you know. I feel like I needed at least +3 to outspeed them all, plus the Sticky Web, right? So I was like, well, I'll go for Ice Beam. I outsped, which is really cool. I'm going for the Ice Beam on the Miraidon. It's taken prior damage, and that drops it. I'm like, yes, here we go. But there was one more legendary left on the team. They had that legendary team. It was another Mewtwo. I was like, oh, okay. But this time, this Mewtwo, it didn't have Unnerve. It had pressure, right? But the pressure was on them, and it was also on me because I wanted to get this sweep. So I'm like, all right. Let's go for Boom Burst. Let's get the fattest W in history, right? However, they're going to go for a Terror here. So I'm like, wonder what this is going to be, right? And it's going to be Psychic. So I'm like, good. It's not Ghost or anything. It's not like Steel or some weird one like that. So I'm like, I know that I can take this out or get close. Very, very close to taking it out. Mewtwo is going to get outspared too, which is really, really cool. Now it's going to go for Psy Strike. I lived it like a champ, but it won the speed tie. You wouldn't read about the Mewtwo won the speed tie. So we actually had exactly the same speed there. I don't know whether it might have had to have a Choice Scarf or something like that. I'm not sure. I have to go for a deeper dive on that. But I won the first speed tie and lost the second one. So I brought in my Wiglett, went for a Disrespect Salty Final Gambit and took it out. But man, I was so close to getting that. I don't know what happened. Like, that Mewtwo must have been... I have no idea. But then again, I outsped it the first time. So I don't know whether it was max speed or I had a Choice Scarf. But I actually... Because I couldn't have had a Choice Scarf, right? Because then it would have outsped me the first time. So I'm kind of like... I don't know. Like, if anyone wants to do a dive on the speed comparison, I had no EVs in speed. I wasn't a hindering nature. It was bold. And I had raw +2, right? But they had Sticky Web. I don't know, like, that was insanely unlucky. Anyway, let's go. I'm still salty about not getting that sweep. Anyway, so we got a Primarina lead, and I actually caused a Primarina to swap there, and we got more Soul coming in. So this is my Sewaddle here. This Sewaddle is, you know, well, you got to see that already. So I thought, you know what I'm going to do here? I'm going to get rid of its ability Technician, because it's using Tidy Up. It's going to be the typical population boom set, right? So I was thinking, I don't really have much of a chance against this team, I think. But I stuck around for a little bit just to see what would happen. So they're going to go for the obvious Tidy Up. However, I swapped their ability, but they didn't have... It had Friend Guard. I was like, oh, come on. So I could have got Lunge off there, but you would think there was, unless it's like a doubles team as well. So they're going for their little population boom, and, it's doing a ton of damage. Like, I got to get rid of this thing. It's very, very difficult with this team. I've got one maybe Pokemon that could... possibly come into this, I'm thinking. So, Swatter was gone. I'm like, okay, we'll go into Scatterbug. Let's see what they're going to do. Maybe they'll try another Tidy Up. I'll go for, like, String Shot or Poison Powder or something like that. I went for Stun Spore. One of those sort of moves there. So, they're going for Population Bomb. This is a bulky Everlight Scatterbug. It's actually taking it pretty well when you think about it. But, unfortunately, it can only withstand 8 of them. And they landed all... well, obviously, they landed 8 of them. So... That Scatterbug was max health, and it was max defense. Impish nature with Everlight. Pretty impressive, but it wasn't able to withstand all 10 hits. So I went into my Orthworm, probably one of the better Pokemon on my team. They're going to go for a beat up here. This Orthworm... Orthworm's got some nice base defense anyway. It's got 145 base and defense. So this is max health, EVs, and I've got max special defense, careful nature. Now, this is a PIMPNITE specially. I've been trying to get a sweep with this for a little bit. It's got very, very good potential to actually get that. So we got Moringa Berry as the item. So that's going to raise its special defense by 1 stage when it gets hit by a special attack, which increases its, average special defense. So very, very average special defense. I've got Coil, Iron Tail, Rest, and Sleep Talk. So it's, relying on Coil to boost its attack and defense, basically. And Moringa Berry sort of fixes its special defense right there. So I thought this would be a great time to go for some coils here. Plus I was resistant, to the Morsol's attacks and stuff. So I was doing very, very little damage to me. And I knew if I got enough of them up, I could, potentially sweep this team. I also had Terra Electric on this as well. So with Earth Eater ability, I was invincible, right, basically. There was no attacks that are super effective against me because, when I went for electric, right, the only weakness to electric is ground. If I go for a ground, Earth Eater would heal me, right? So that's my my set, and it works rather well there. But it does take quite a lot of setup there, and is only really, good in singles if you get a chance to set up. So I'm going for Rest. I'm going for Sleep Talk, obviously, here. This thing is shut down. There's no way they can do anything to me, but they keep going for Play Rough all the time. So maybe they're trying to drop my attack. Maybe they don't want to swap into one of the other Pokemon because they noticed I've got a lot of coils up there. That's what I was sort of thinking anyway. So I got a Sleep Talk and I got a Rest, which is a bit of a disappointment. I was hoping to get Iron Tail or at least a Call. So they're going to go for another Play Rough here, and Play Rough actually drops my attack. So I think maybe that's what they were trying to do. So I had my attack drop by 1 stage, which, is neither here or there. I know that I can beat this Pokemon, right? So now I get Iron Tail, which does, some good damage there, almost taking it out. So like, all right, well, I could go for another Coil. Let's go for another Coil here and get my attack up to where it was, right? I don't have any attack EVs. It's not going to hit very hard. Now my accuracy, obviously with Coil, that makes, Iron Tail 100% accurate after you use a couple of them. So it's very, very good with that too. So this is a very, very bulky, definitely the most bulky Pokemon on my team, even bulkier than the Dudunsparce, right? That's my, Dudunsparce was sort of like my bulky, a slow bulky sweeper, and this one's like a really, really even slower bulky sweeper, but that was more luck-based, where this was like, well, I know what it's capable of, right? I know what its counters are. I know what a good time to send it in, sort of thing. And as long as the other worms could do a bit of damage, or annoy the opponent a little bit with a sticky web, or maybe I could get a Wiglett, final gambit, stuff like that. So I ended up taking out the Morsold anyway, eventually. And the next Pokemon we got here is going to be the Ogerpon. So all right, they're going to try and crit me, but I resist them, I resist their attack anyway. So even if they do get a crit, it's going to do donkeys. So I don't know what they're trying to get out of this. Maybe they've got a scope lens or something like that. I don't know. So now they're going to go for a sword dance here. So all right, they're going to try and set up on me. I went for Iron Tail here, and Iron Tail does great damage, right? But they lived, and they got a berry heal. So like, oh, come on. it wasn't my day for getting one-hit KOs, like, with this team. I just kept missing them all the time. Anyway, they're going to go for their signature move there. They do not get the crit, and it does nothing. That wouldn't have taken me out anyway, so I guess that's sort of karma for luckily living on 1 health there. So that's the end of that. We've got 2 Pokemon down. Now, the next one here is going to be Sylveons. Like, this is either bait for a Terrifier, or they've got Mystical Fire. Or they're just going to go for Terrifier, then Mystical Fire, or they've got some other, like, defensive one like that. Or they're just going to go for another one and try and one-shot me. So, they're going to go for a Terrifier here, which was a little bit terrifying, to say the least. So, I know they're going to either go for Terra Blast or something else there. Iron Tail actually gets a big crit, but I feel like it probably would have almost been a 2-hit KO anyway, so it didn't really matter all that much, and it took me out. So I'm like, all right, well, it was a pretty good effort there. I mean, I had some, you know, that was a very, very good counter for my team. I didn't have Maranga Berry up. I had no effective move, so, you know, that was pretty good, right? So I'm going to go into Dudunsparce here. I know that I've got an Ancient Power. Thought if I go for Stellar Ancient Power, that will take it out. This Pokemon's got some pretty fat special defense, though. That's the only thing about it. So they're going to withdraw for some reason. I'm not really sure why. Maybe predicting a Paralyze or something. And then they went to Latias. So it's like, oh, okay, Latias. That's a bit of an interesting swap in. Now, Latias is normally a support Pokemon. It's a tanky support Pokemon, so I didn't really expect any powerful offensive moves, say, comparative to, like, Latios, right? So I'm going for my Ancient Power anyway. I was actually really hoping I would get a boost here so I could stay into this game. Did very little damage, and I got a boost. I'm like, wow, that's really, really, really good. So I got a boost. This thing's going to be, like, really, really tanky now, like, a force to be reckoned with. Like, honestly, once you get, like, 2 boosts on this set, it's very, very hard to actually feint this, and if you get a 3rd one, and if you got maybe a web support down, generally you can sweep their team. Now, the Latios, as I suspected, is going to have Thunder Wave. So normally they run these Thunder Wave sets and annoying support sets. But I'm not too phased by that, because I knew with +1 in speed, I wasn't really outspeeding anything, right? Maybe a Snorlax. So I went for Ice Beam, great damage. I was like, okay, cool. I can go for Ancient Power, take them out, but they're going to go for Healing Wish. So they've healed off another Pokemon, and now Healing Wish can be delayed. You can delay it until the next Pokemon that comes in that's taken at least 1 damage, and they're going to get back their Sylveon. So I was like, that's a bit of a shame. But I know they've got only special moves on this, and I've got an Assault Vest on this, and I've got a +1 of special defense. So I know I can take their moves reasonably well. It's just, will I get paralyzed? What's going to happen? So I went for the Ancient Power here. Hyper Voice does reasonable damage to me. If I get one more Ancient Power, I was pretty confident. But then Ancient Power was doing really bugger all to them as well. So essentially here they brought back a really, really good counter to my team. You know, I almost took it out, and then they brought it back with Healing Wish, right? So now they're going to go for Terra Blast Fire. Terra Blast Fire does less than Hyper Voice. You know, it wasn't really a powerful attack there. And then I got paralyzed. So like, that really, really sucks. So this is like I was getting game-changing paralysis right there. I was hoping it didn't continue to happen. So I went for Boom Burst this time. I knew that would do more damage. I really needed an extra boost there, but at the stage now I was paralyzed, and then I got another one. I had to do some damage to this thing. So I managed to go for a last-ditch Ancient Power here to try and get a boost on the Sylveon, but it didn't take it out. But I got a boost here. It's like, ooh, I don't think that's going to make a difference. So I got another one, but unfortunately that Latios paralyzed me earlier on. I don't think I'm going to outspeed the Sylveon, right? But I mean, you know, Sylveon's not that fast itself. And then he used Quick Attack, and it was a mix set, right? And that actually fails to take me out, and I Ancient Power to feint it. So that was really, really funny there. They thought they were actually, you know, with Pixelate, I guess, they thought they may just have enough to take me out. They were worried about getting outsped, but you know, the unit lived it, you know. So I've got +2 at the moment, like the last battle, but the difference is I'm on my last legs here. I knew I'm not going to outspeed. So I thought, all right, they're just going to outspeed me. I've got Flamethrower left with Stellar. There's nothing I can do. There's no point swapping out. So they went for an Arm Thrust. Now, I was worried because I was like, well, they're just going to, they're going to use Revival Blessing, aren't they? They've already brought back 1 Pokemon. So essentially, I've already killed, you know, almost 5 Pokemon at this stage, right? And I'm really trying to squeeze the rest out of this team. Like, man, I don't know if I can do this right. Can we win this? So I was like, all right, I've got Final Gambit. So I outsped with Final Gambit. Max Health Wiglett, Still doesn't take it out. Like, Wiglett is absolutely horrendous in health. It's got like 10 base health. And then they got the double shocks. I'm like, okay, that's good. They didn't use Revival Blessing. So I've got my Snom here. I was like, all right, Snom's my last Pokemon. I can feint this if I go for Fairy Wind, but that's about it. So I'm going for that. And then they use Revival Blessing. So I've taken out... this will be the, once I take out this Pokemon, they brought their Mossole back, right? So essentially, I fainted freaking 5 Pokemon already. So like, I've fainted so many more Pokemon than them. You could say that, the amount of damage that I've done, right? Then they brought in the Primarina, and they thought, obviously they thought, all right, we've won this battle here. All I've got to do is go for a special attack. I've got Snom, I've got that Mirror Coat, so they went for Sparkling Area there. I think that just cut a little bit too early. And I just went for Miracle. And that's going to drop Perimeter. So essentially there, I've taken out at least 7 Pokemon. I think 5. Yeah, 4, 5, 6. Maybe 6. Maybe 6 Pokemon I've taken out. So they've got half health left in their Morsalt. Obviously, I won't be able to outspeed this. I've got Bug Buzz left. And, they're going to outspeed me. But that was a crazy game there. Like, a really, really crazy game. I want to definitely say if they didn't have their Sylveon with Terrafire, I would have easily beaten them. There was no way they were stopping my Orthworm there. Absolutely not. I'm looking at the rest of their team like that. They were completely walled. So, a little bit unlucky there with the Pokemon they brought, but what a performance there by that absolutely rubbish team. Like, you did really, really well. So, let's get on to the next battle. This is another random battle. We've got a Gengar lead here. I'm not sure of my opponent's name, so if anyone feels like translating, please do. So, this team was weak to a lot of different things too. Like, you come across a lot of people just like straight up competitive teams or really, legendary teams that, stealth right instantly turn 1, right? The moment they've seen all the, the bugs and things like that. Or they Terra turn 1. It was amazing, actually, how many people did that. So, we got a Gengar lead here. There's not really a lot I can do to it. I just sort of, setted that up and fainted. So, that's the end of Swaddle. So, I thought, all right, let's go into Snom here. Snom should be able to take out this Gengar. With the Mirror Coat, right? So Gengar's got Sludge Bomb, and it's going to go for it there. I'm like, well, I'm fine. Even if I get poison here, it doesn't matter. I can feint this Gengar. It should be fine, right? So I've got the Mirror Coat there, and there's no Sash, which is good. So that's the end of Gengar, which is nice. So Gengar's always a problematic Pokemon and stuff like that. Next Pokemon to come here is going to be Petrarans. I'm like, this is going to be a pain. So it is very bulky. Very, very bulky. So I've got in this set, like, Icy Wind. That's, about all I can really do to it. Here, I was sort of thinking what I should do. Should I swap it out, leave it for fodder later on? Should I go for Icy Wind? I was like, I'll just go for Icy Wind here. But they're going to outspeed me and go for Shadow Ball. I didn't really expect to outspeed there. I was sort of just looking at my options. So that's the end of Snom. But good performance by Snom taking out the Gengar. So I've taken 1 Pokemon out so far, but I've only really got 1 Pokemon that can deal with this thing. So I thought, let's go into Orthworm here. At least I can't be poisoned. And then I went for the Coil, right? So Coil's going to increase my attack and my defense. So we're going to get those boosts up and the accuracy. Then they went for Toxic. Now, I think they believe that this ability, was able to poison Steel-type Pokemon like Corrosion, but it's not, So they can't do anything to me with Toxic. So they're all right, they're going to go for Shadow Ball, right? Shadow Ball will do a bit of damage. Then they went for Malignant Chain. That's also not going to affect me. So I think they're a bit confused about what the poison ability Poison Puppeteer does or whatever it is. So I can't do any. They really can't do anything. Now they're going to go for Shadow Ball. It's like this is not going to be very strong, and it wasn't. So that's going to activate my Morangaberry. So Orthworm is really quite bulky on the not insanely bulky, but quite bulky now with a +1 in special defense. So I'm sleeping, I'm boosting up my defense. It's only a matter of time before I can one-shot this. It has nice base defense, but, with 6 of these up, it's going to be a problem for the Petron. However, they're going to use Destiny Bombs. So it's like, all right, I've got to be a bit careful here because I don't want to lose my Orthworm here. So I thought, I'm going to get as many calls up here as possible. I've got the speed advantage. And I'm going to wait to they've used Destiny Bond, and then I've used another turn afterwards, or they've used another move afterwards, and then I'm going to feint it, right? That was the only problem with using Rest and Sleep Talk. If I rolled, like, say, Sleep Talk and then Iron Tail after they used Death, like, for example, here, and if, if I went to sleep and then use it and they use it, I would feint myself, right? So I didn't want to leave that up to chance at all. So I decided here to go for a Rest, and I thought about this. I'm like, well, if I go for Sleep Talk this turn, and they go for Destiny Bond, and it actually works, which is going to be very unlikely. I'll be fine, right, to use at least Sleep Talk this turn. So I was like, let's go Sleep Talk this turn, or just Rest. I actually just went to sleep here. I didn't really want to attack them. I was in a pretty good spot, and then I went for it again. So I went for Sleep Talk again, and I got Coil. So I'm like, all right, that's not even that bad at all. That's only going to help me. It's going to, I think I was like, what, +3 or 4 in defense and attack and accuracy now. So I was very bulky, and I hit pretty hard, too. Iron Tail's actually got some pretty nice base, a base on it, like, what is it, like, it's got 100 base power, right? So that's pretty good, and it's stab as well. So that sort of makes up for me not having any attack at all, right? So they're firing off Shadow Balls. They haven't got any special defense drops, which I know they'll try to do. At this stage, I was like, this thing is a little bit too much of a problem here. Let's get rid of it. So I'm going to wake up here and use the Iron Tail. Let's going to take it out. Now, with the bulk that I've got left, I was very confident I could leave any physical attack they threw at me. Special, I was like, nah, I don't know about this one. Then came the Ho-Oh, so I'm like, all right. Ho-Oh typically is a physical attacker, with Sacred Fire. So I was confident I could live a Sacred Fire. Absolutely. Like, what did I have? Sorry, I was +6 here. Look at the coils. I was +6, so I was overly confident I could live that. So I thought, just in case bad things happen here, like say if I got critical hit, that'd be bad. So let's go for a Terror Electric, make it at least it's neutral, and then maybe I could go for Rest, and we could go from there, right? So Ho-Oh is obviously going to go for Overheat this turn. So like, I'm very, very lucky that I went for that Terror Electric. The only reason I lived that was thanks to the Moringa Berry that I had before. So that was a good plan to go for that, right? So like, I sort of thought in advance there. I wasn't really sure if it was going to be a special set or a physical one. I thought, mainly it's physical, but, on that off chance, that's right. Then they used Fire Blast. So they had Fire Blast and Overheat there. I guess it didn't really matter, which one they used first, but now they're in a bit of a bad predicament because they've dropped their special attack, and I've just healed myself off right. So I'm a max attack and defense at the moment. All I have to do basically is wait till I get enough Iron Tails. Even against Ho-Oh, it's going to do lots of damage eventually, right? So now they're going to swap it out. Obviously, they can't do anything. They're completely walled. And now they're going to bring in their Mewtwo. So I'm like, all right, Mewtwo's going to go down a one-shot. No worries. I've got an Orthworm sweep here. There's no way they can get around this. I'm completely and utterly set up. I'm ready to get my Orthworm sweep, right? I've got to make up for that Dudunsparce sweep. So I'm fast asleep this turn. I'm just going to go for Sleep Talk this turn, and then when I wake up, I'll go for Iron Tail if I don't manage to roll. So I got Iron Tail this turn, and Mewtwo just gets absolutely dominated one shot. So I'm awake the next turn. I can beat Ho-Oh. There's a Mew, and there's another, a couple of other, one other Pokemon left there. I think it's another Mewtwo that's left, so I'm good. I'm ready to get my sweep here, right? So I've got the Iron Tail, and then they salty cancel the battle when I was going to win. So there you go. We did get the Orthworm sweep, but we didn't actually get the entire, the opponent staying around for the entire thing. So I'm gonna put a separate video up for an Orthworm sweep one day when I actually get the whole thing, which I know I can do because I've done it so many times there. It's just the fact that the opponent always tends to cancel the battle before it when they've got a 10 times better team, which is pretty funny, but that's how it normally goes. All right, next battle here. This is a battle against Lychee. We have a theme team here as well. I wonder if we can guess what it is. Now, this battle was actually pretty interesting because I got some insanely good luck here, which is unusual for me. Normally, I get insanely good luck, or most of the time, I get terrible luck when I play Pokemon. That's usually how it is. So I would say, 85% of the time, I get really bad luck, and that there's like this 15% chance or time when I get absolutely incredible luck back to back. That's normally how it goes for me in RNG and Pokemon. I don't know why it is. It just is. So we got this. We got a Blaze Skeleturge, which is pretty cool, a physical set, and it's going to be trying to boost its speed with Flame Charge. So Sewaddle, I changed the ability with Sewaddle, and I couldn't really do a lot there. Sewaddle was, it's a fire Pokemon. This team, as you can obviously see, is very, very weak to fire type Pokemon. Extremely weak. And it's kind of hard to pick the slack up with Orthworm. I almost have to 100% terror that every time, or, you know, the Dudunsparce or something like that. So I thought, well, we're on the Dudunsparce here. Let's see if I can get some Ancient Power boost up. I mean, you know, I most of the time, I didn't really get Ancient Power boost most of the time. There was only a couple of battles like the ones I've showed you where I got them, you know, consecutively like that, because it is only 20% chance. So it's not, you can't really bank on it happening. It's more of a, the Dudunsparce was more like an ace in the hole, right? If Orthworm was to fall, and that was it, right? So I'm trying to get some damage on this Scarlet here. It's doing nothing to me. I mean, it is a physical set. I'll be real about that too, but this Dudunsparce, the Dudunsparce, is so freaking bulky, man. And it's only got one weakness to fighting, too. So I'm trying to get some damage on here. I've used 3 Ancient Powers so far. They're using Earthquake, which I think is going to be around the same sort of damage as Flame Charge. Very, very close in terms of damage there. I'm going for a boost here, and I've used four times already, right? So I'm hoping I can get maybe 1 out of this. So Dudunsparce is almost, this is the thing, right? If you don't get a boost on this Dudunsparce set, sure, you can tank a lot of hits, but eventually you're going to get worn down. And, you know, with Assault Vest, you've got no way of healing yourself. You might be able to, you know, cheese it with, like, Roost and stuff like that, but then you've got to get rid of the Assault Vest, right? But I don't mind this set. So anyway, in comes the Blaziken. Blaziken probably has a fighting move, but then it uses Growl. I'm like, oh, I see. It's going to be a Throat Spray set, right? So Growl is going to activate the Throat Spray, and it's also going to drop my attack. But I'm not a physical user at all. I'm a special. So I went for Boom Burst. You know, got some alright damage. I was pretty happy with that. Now, this is a speed boost Blaziken, so it's going to be a mix. It's going to be a special set. So, well, it might be mixed. I'm not sure, but I'm thinking it's more special because you know, it only used Growl to increase its special attack. It doesn't really have any other ways to do that at the moment. So, as you can see, Dudunsparce completely useless in this battle. It just tanked a lot of attacks. So that's how it went most of the time. You really need a lot of luck with that Pokemon. So I thought, well, I've got this, but what am I going to do? Mirror Coat? So I went for Mirror Coat here. They landed the Heat Wave. Thank goodness it didn't miss, because, you know, that might have caused a swap there. And Snom is going to beat a Blaziken. It's probably the only time you're ever going to see a Snom beat a Blaziken. Only on PIMPNITE Shadowrise here. That's not something. It's like, I'm not sure if you guys have ever seen this, but I did a Snom sweep back in Sword and Shield, and I beat a G-Max Charizard with a Snom, right? That's how it was, right? That was a good video if you haven't watched it. It's an old one, but an oldie but a goldie, right? So in comes a Roaring Moon, and it's going to go for a Hyper Voice. Now, the next Pokemon I'm going to bring is going to be Scatterbug. So I don't know what this is, a special set or something like that. So I've got Bug Bite, and I've got a couple other moves here. Flamethrower actually doesn't take out my Scatterbug thanks to the mighty Everlight, and I got a Bug Bite off, which was, you know, pretty good damage there. I'm happy with that damage. So I've got other things to do, but it's obviously going to faint me. So it's got Flamethrower and it's got Hyper Voice. So you probably imagine that it's got Dark Pulse as well, and, you know, some other sort of like coverage moves there. It has quite a few you know, nice special moves. So I was like, all right, we'll go into Wiglett here. Now Wiglett's got a Choice Scarf, and as you know, it's got max health and max speed there. A lot of the time I just used it for Final Gambit. It's good for cleaning stuff up, and in that case, I actually would probably just add enough health to, you know, to take it out there. So it was pretty good. It's got 95 base speed, so Jolly Nature, and then Choice Scarf. And it's got ability as Gooey as well. Not that I really wanted to use any of its other moves there. It's more just, you know, to feint bulky Pokemon or speedy Pokemon. Next Pokemon's going to be Toxtricity. So this was a fairly long part of the battle, right? This was definitely a fairly long part of the battle. So at this stage, I was like, well, I've got Coil. I mean, what will this actually do to me? Is it a special set? Is it a physical set? So I thought, well, I'll get some coils up here. Let's see how much I can do, because I know that Iron Tail isn't going to do like tons of damage to this Pokemon. However, it's going to have a Mirror Herb, which copies my attack and defense and accuracy rise. I'm like, oh, okay, this is probably going to have something like Swagger or something like that. And of course it used Swagger right afterwards. So what the opponent here was trying to do, they were trying to get a +2 in attack. So you know, inadvertently, I actually stopped them from getting another +1 attack there, which was pretty funny just from, you know, setting up. So I was thinking here, well, I'm not too worried about this. I can't use any poison-type moves. If they're running a physical set, which obviously they are, I don't have to worry too much. So I hit myself for confusion, which is a bit unfortunate, but, you know, that's how it is. Then they use Nuzzle. So Nuzzle is a bit of a pain, but I've got Rest, so I'm not really too worried about it. Nuzzle is really only bad if you're getting hit. Or Paralyze is really only bad if you're getting hit pretty hard and you're trying to get a rest off there, and then it's risky, right? So it's got Nuzzle, it's got Trailblaze, I'd say it's got a Poison move, so, and it's got Swagger, so there you go. That's its entire moveset. It really can't do any damage to me at all outside of those two moves. So they're going to continue to go Nuzzle here, and I snap out of Confusion. It actually did a pretty good chunk of damage to me, but at this case, I was like, I've got... what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Pokemon down. Orthworm is my last Pokemon on my team. I have to go for Rest here. If I don't go for Rest, I've got to deal with, like, you know, 3 other Pokemon. Then they swapped out because clearly they couldn't do anything there after seeing the Rest, which is fair enough. So the next Pokemon is going to be the Scarlet, which we've seen earlier on. And, you know, even with the Sticky Web, I wasn't expecting, you know, to outspeed this all. So I'm hoping here I could get some coils up at least, you know, try and increase that, increase that attack and defense. So I'm going for the Sleep Talk here, and I roll Iron Tail, which is really good. And it takes it down to a Focus Sash. I was like, oh, okay, so that's fine. So that's good. So I was like, all right, well, I'll go for Sleep Talk again. And I can just hopefully, I probably won't get it, but next turn I can easily take it out. So that actually did a pretty good amount of damage to me there with a special attacking move, and that's going to activate my Moranga Berry, which is very, very good here. So that means if I go to sleep again and I come across another special attacker, it's not going to do like nearly enough. And also, you know, Scarlet's next hit isn't going to do very much at all. However, I landed another Iron Tail there. I mean, Iron Tail was 100% accurate there, so landing it really wasn't a surprise because it was 100% accurate. It was just rolling it, I guess. So it was kind of nice getting 2 in a row there. So the next Pokemon is going to be the Armoroak here. So obviously it's got a fire move, or you think it would. Is it physical? Is it special? What's it going to be? So I'm thinking here, well, I better... It's probably good that I go for a Terra Electric at least here, because I know they're going to have some sort of super effective fire move. If I go for Terra Electric and then I go for Iron Tail, it should do pretty good damage there. I think I've got it at this stage. I think I had about +2 or 3 in attack. It wasn't like maxed out like the last battle, because, you know, I would need to get a lot more of them out there. So I decided to go for the Terra Electric to sponge the incoming fire move. This way, at least the Toxtricity would not be doing a lot to me. So I outsped here, and I went for Iron Tail, you know. Iron Tail does good damage there. And that's like a 3-hit KO. Now, this is a bit problematic. They had Nightshade, which is a fixed damage move. So I thought, I could risk going for Iron Tail again, or I could go for Rest there. The only problem about stalling against Nightshade is if I roll 2 Sleep Talks, I'm going to be back to this position again. So it might be better that I feint this, right? That could be the go there. I know that Toxtricity isn't going to be able to hit me with a lot of damage. They no longer have any attack boost there. So I thought, let's go for Rest, and let's try my chances at getting Iron Tail. Even if I roll 1 Iron Tail, that'd be very, very good there. Unfortunately, it wasn't a clean 2-hit KO either, right? So they're going to go for Flame Charge here, increasing their speed, which is bad because, you know, if they're going to go first, they're going to be able to go for Nightshades quicker, right? And I'd say that this is some sort of a support or troll set there. So now they're going to go for Nightshade again. That's doing good damage to me. This doesn't really have a lot of health either, Orthworm. So I can take another couple of these, and then I'm going to have to go to sleep. So we're going to go for a Sleep Talk, and then I got Iron Tail. So I got 3 consecutive Iron Tails there in a row, which is really, really cool. So I got 3 of them. I also got a defense drop there, which doesn't really matter, but I live the next one there. So now, like, okay, well, the next move, I've got to go for Rest again, right? If I don't get it here, it's not the end of the world, but it'd be nice to get it, and I got it. So I got 4 consecutive Iron Tails in a row there through Sleep Talk, which is really, really good, especially on that Pokemon there. That was very, very handy. So last Pokemon here is going to be the Toxtricity. So Toxtricity, I know, can't do much to me at all. Like, the electric move is going to, like, Nuzzle's got to do nothing. They've got Swagger. They probably don't want to use Swagger. I'm going to wake up here, and I'm going to go for Iron Tail. I'm not going to go for Rest here. I got a good amount of damage there, and a defense drop, which doesn't matter. And then they went for Poison Tail, so that was their move, and Poison Tail is not going to take me out. I'm at 100% accuracy with Iron Tail. That makes no sense to go for Rest, and I'm going to finish it off there. But that is the end of the battle there, so definitely some good luck with getting those, especially the Sleep Talks earlier. against, not the Armor Oak, but it was the Meowscarada. They were definitely handy there, but pretty much I was able to handle the last Pokemon kind of easily due to my typing and stuff there. All right. Okay, so let's get on to the next battle here. This is a battle against Kottmeistern. This worm team was actually his suggestion, so he thought it'd be a cool idea to actually bring along a worm team as well. Now, we did have quite a similar Wormtail, but there were a couple of differences on the team. I think there was like 1 or 2 differences. So we both started with a Sewaddle, and of course, we're both going to put some sticky webs down on the field there. Sewaddle actually has a really, really cool shiny. It's really cool, that minty fresh green and those little cherry tomato feet, right? Now, of course, the trolls always use this move against me because they want me to say it. So Sewaddle use jungle healing, all right? They use that. And anyway, while you're watching this matchup, a legendary matchup here between 2 little bugs, if you're enjoying yourself, if you want to support the channel there, if you hit the like button, that really, really helps out my channel, and leaving a comment. You guys don't know how much that helps out. It may seem like a small thing, but it really does help, my channel out there. If you could do that, it'd be absolutely amazing. How YouTube sort of works this day. It's different to back in the day, right? So, yeah, if you could do that, would be amazing. I hope you're enjoying the video so far. Are you still watching? This deep into the video? I really hope you are and you're enjoying it. So we got another Scatterbug here. A little clue to, you'll be seeing some more Scatterbug coming up too. I've got an extraordinarily difficult team to do, coming up here. Anyway, so that's the end of the Scatterbug, and we've got Snom, the Snow Frolicker. So it's going to be coming in there. It's got that sticky web. So I've got a Snom as well. I've got Lunge on this. I thought, well, I'll go for Lunge. This does have max attack, and it's doing some pretty good damage here, the Snom. I mean, not the Snom is like a defensive demon or anything like that. And it's going to drop me with a Bug Buzz there. So that's the end of Sewaddle. Sewaddle did pretty good there, actually. So now I'm going to go into the Wiglett. So Wiglett has got Final Gambit, and it's also got Aqua Jet. So I thought, I didn't really want to go for I don't want to go for Final Gambit here. I've got Aqua Jet, so let's go for that. I had no attack EVs, but, Snom isn't exactly bulky, so I thought that, with Stab, that would probably just be enough to take it out. So it was. I was worried that it might live on 1 health there. So now I'm locked into Choice Scarf Aqua Jet, only on PIMPNITE channel. I've got to swap out here, so I thought I might be able to use that Wiglett for something else, because there are a couple of bulky Pokemon. I think there's like 1 particularly bulky Pokemon on their team, which I thought would be good though. So I swapped into my own Scatterbug. Actually, Scatterbug has a really, really cool shiny as well. It's like this fresh white color, and yeah, it looks good. So with this matchup here, I had I'm not sure if I'm pretty sure I said what my Scatterbug set was. It was String Shot, Stun Spore, Poison Powder, and Bug Bite. Max health, max defense, Impish Nature with Shield Dust and Everlight. So it wasn't hitting like super, super hardy. So I was getting pretty salty seeing this move over and over again, and I was trying to get some damage here. I really couldn't do enough damage. It was actually pretty bulky, but I didn't have any attacking EVs either. So this also had Electro Web too. At least you get to see lots of different bugs, right? So I'm just trying to go for Bug Bite here and getting some damage. But ultimately, this Scatterbug was more of it was kind of like a defensive wall that, say if I come across a Pokemon that was a physical attacker that was quite threatening, right? I didn't have anything like counter, so I would use like Stun Spore to try and paralyze them, or Poison Powder to poison them. Maybe to soften it up for like the Dudunsparce and Orthworm and things like that. Or maybe I needed, Wiglett to come in there, but I felt like Wiglett probably wouldn't faint it. I would do a bit of damage there. That sort of thing. That was its main role, right? Kind of thing, or to maybe scope out a terror from the opponent. So it didn't really do a lot in that, a lot outside of that. So we're continuing. This went on for ages, this battle, and finally my Scatterbug succumbed to the mighty Sewaddle with a credit. I actually don't think that would have killed it. I think I need 1 more turn there. So Sewaddle was on its last little legs as well. There's a lot of little legs in this battle. So I thought, all right, well, I could bring in I could bring in Wiglett here, or I could bring in Snom. So I decided to go into my Snom. This Snom has got Icy Wind, and I thought, well, that's going to be perfect. I'm running max speed on this Snom as well, and that should be, that should be enough to take it out. I've got Naive Nature too, so Naive Nature, 0 IVs and special events. So, that would, bring maximum damage output of the any Mirror Coats that came away. So that's going to be the end of the Sewaddle. It's probably the longest Longest time you've ever seen a Sewaddle last on the field for. And the next one is going to be a Worm Trip, which is a Furret. Like, whoa, what's going on here? So, Furret's not a worm, but... You know, as they say, the early bird gets the worm. In this case, it was the early Furret gets the worm because it is going to grow some antennae out of its head. So it makes a pretty good bug-looking Pokemon, I've got to say that. So Furret is going to be going for a coil here. And that's going to be increasing its attack and defense. So I figured here I would just go for Icy Wind because it is quite a fast Pokemon compared to my team. Maybe except for Wiglett, and I wanted to get a little bit of speed control. So I dropped this speed by 1. I was like, all right, I'll go for Bug Buzz while it goes for Body Slam, and that's going to take me down to my Sash there. So it would have, I think it would have anyway, even without the call. So I went for the Bug Buzz, and that did pretty good damage. I was pretty happy with the amount of damage that it actually did there. That's the end of Snom though. It's all good. So also, I actually haven't done I've done a Furret sweep before, but I think it'd be pretty... Would you guys like to see an updated Furret sweep? I think that'd be pretty cool, because it did get stuff like Tidy Up and things like that, so I'd be down to do an updated sweep on it. I think it could have been... I want to say it's probably nearly been 8 to 10 years since I've done one, so... You know. Anyway, so I went for a final game. Of course, Furret lived on 1 health, and I was getting salty about that. Oh my god, Wiglett has 10 base health, right? That was the best. Like, honestly, though, it was the best I could squeeze out of it. Like, it really did. I don't even know how I'm going to do a Wiglett sweep. Like, as you guys know, if you're new to the channel, I always try and get a sweep with every single Pokemon, every generation. I sort of started doing that. I sort of tried to start doing that since Generation 8. So this year's going to be a lot of Pokemon sweeps coming your way, right? So I've done a lot of the previous gens, but not all of them. But I really started to try and do that in Generation 8. So I've got every single Generation 8 Pokemon sweep done. So we're going to try and get every single one of Generation 9's done this year too. But there's going to be some real tough ones, you know, like Tarantula and other stuff like that. Like, I don't even know how I'm going to get those, but it's going to be lots of fun. I've been doing a couple of, I just started up doing some, Pokemon sweep streams on there if you didn't get to see that. And we're going to try and get some of them sweeps this year, hopefully. So anyway, a little bit of stuff there. In comes Wiggly Wormy, and I've got my Dudunsparce here. It is pretty thick. It is pretty juicy. I don't know if this has Final Gambit, but it's going to be a liquidation set. So I'm like, all right, fair enough. The only thing I had to probably worry about here was Wiglett dropping my defense continually with liquidation, but it's not a bulky Pokemon at all. So I wasn't really worried about, fainting here. So that is going to be the end of Wiglett. And now we got Snot, the early riser. And this is definitely the bulkiest set on their team. Now, I was kind of curious what set they would be running on their Orthworm. Because, with the Worm team, I had to run mine really tanky, of course. So it seems to be they're going to be doing the similar sort of set there. Now, I've got Flamethrower on this. I gave this to Dudunsparce, pretty good coverage here because I needed to. When you're versing, Sweats on the Poké Portal to bring the most try-hard team, you need a bulky Pokemon and you need some good coverage. So this is obviously not this battle here, but when you're versing very competitive teams or super try-hards, right? You need some alright sort of bulk there on your team. So they're gonna have Rest on their Orthworm, which I kind of saw coming after I seen Core. So I'd say we've probably got a very similar sort of set there. However, this one has Chesto Berry instead of having Sleep Talk, so it's a little bit different. So I'm going to be going for Flamethrower here. It's still doing tons of damage to the Orthworm, and the next one is going to be taking it out here. Unless it's got something like Body Press, I was not too worried there. So Iron Tail does pretty good damage, but as I mentioned, I've got max health and max defense. So I went for an Ice Beam here to be. I was trying to get a freeze axe here. I was being a bit of a smartass, so I tried to go for a Serene Grace, and I lived on 1 health afterwards and get a Flamethrower off there. Sometimes when I do battles, my trolling ways sort of seep in there, and I want to do things which sometimes can cause me to lose the battle. Anyway, Cott, thank you for the cool team suggestion and a really cool team there. I like the Furret bug. All right, let's get on to our 6th battle today. I really hope you're enjoying all the battles today. I hope you're enjoying the longer videos here. I'm actually enjoying doing them too because I can include all of the content that I get, not just some of the content, because you guys miss out on a lot of content if I don't do this, right? Like long form content and things like that. So I feel like it's better. You guys get better value out of it too. You get a longer video. And now, if you haven't noticed, I'm trying to get my I'm getting my streams out a lot more, and we're getting the the uploads coming out pretty quickly too. Once I do them in like a batch and stuff. There might be in this battle too, this particular battle, there might be a small couple of little visual glitches too, because this is one I did quite a while ago. But I've sort of solved that problem now. But I just thought I'd mention that one. Anyway, this is a battle against Bebble Pickles too. This was just full on soul, right? So we got the leg day coming in and coming out there. That's a great name for that. And the next Pokemon is going to be Indigo. Now this is making fun of the way I say Indigo, like on the Minions, right? I had to there was this on one of my Nuzlocke, I had to sort of hunt for. I had to hunt for all the different colors of Minion, but I couldn't find the Indigo one. So this is a shell smash set with white herbs. So I was like, I wonder what sort of set this is going to be, because this Pokemon, there really wasn't a lot I could actually do to it. Due to its type, being rock and flying, right? This team, as you can imagine, really did struggle against flying types and rock types and things like that. I had some sweaty people bring mono rock teams and really competitive ones. They were setting up, 200 layers of stealth rocks on turn 1, going for Terra Rock on turn 1 against Sewaddle and stuff like that. It was insane, right? I guess they needed their endorphin win for the day. Anyway, so we got a Confused Ray Meteor with Shell Smash only on my channel, and I don't know what I'm gonna I was like, man, I have no idea what I'm gonna do here. Maybe try and get a bit of damage on this Minior, but I don't know. I actually kind of was curious to see if I could live whatever attack it was going to use. So it's going to use Ancient Powers. Oh, damn it, it's not a physical move. So I was hoping for a physical move there. So it's Ancient Powers. So that's, that Scatterbug is ancient history. So we're going to bring in Snom now. I've got Mirror Coat, but instead of that, they went Explosions. I'm like, oh, come on. So that is going to take me out of my sash, and I couldn't get the Mirror Coat off. So things weren't going very good so far. Things were, getting a little bit salty, but the pure salt started out. You watch this, right? You're never going to see this again in your life, right? Seriously. Tell me about it in the comment section. Tell me if you've seen this happen before within these circumstances. So I get finished off with the Typhlosion with Ember, disrespect. So then I was like, all right, we'll swap in Wiglett here. I've got Final Gambit, I'll outspeed. I go for Final Gambit, it misses. They're holding Bright Powder or Laxative Incense, and then it misses that time, right? Then they use Smoke Screen. I miss Final Gambit again for the second time with that, all right? So I'm starting to get pretty salty. Then they use Extra Sentry. I lived on 1 health. I went for a disrespect Final Gambit on 1 health, and it missed. I missed 3 turns in a row with Final Gambit and then died to another M. So I was getting mega salty here. I was like, what is this? This is the bad luck. This is the real bad luck that I'm talking about that happens to me I get bad luck, but then I get insanely bad luck. Anyway, this part here, I'm going to be speeding up for the purposes of the battle here. Virtually what happened here, I couldn't land any attacks, and I kept getting flinched by this Typhlosion all the time. I did manage to get myself an Ancient Power boost, but the problem was here, right, I couldn't land an attack to save my life, right? I kept I'd land 1, then 2, then miss 3, then get flinched, and it went on for a very long time. I was getting pretty salty. I was like, man, I don't want my Dudunsparce to faint to an Ember. Then I got burned by Ember. I was going for every attack I had. We got down to the last little bit here. I finally got a Boom Burst off here, but I had a burn from that Ember from earlier on, so Dudunsparce actually ended up fainting here as well. So that was absolute bull. I never want to see that Typhlosion again in my life, right? So I had 1 Pokemon left, and I'd only taken 3 out, right? So out comes Palafin. Oh, it's not Palafin, it's Spinosaur, right? This is a troll, right? We got this Orthworm. Now, this Orthworm was my only chance of getting back into the battle here, but I didn't know what sort of set this was going to... It was definitely going to be a troll set, right? So I'm going for coils here. I'm going for as many coils as I can, because I need a lot to take out, probably at least 3 or 4 to do some decent damage here. So this is a body slam, so I'm like, all right, straight away they're going to try and paralyze me, right? I already know. And they got it on the first freaking goes. I'm like, of course, as the saying goes, guys, when it rains, it pours, right? So I'm thinking, well, it's not all that bad. It's going to be annoying, but I can go for rest and get rid of that. You know, it's not that much of a pain. I can get some calls up there. I'm thinking about what's they've got left on the rest of their team, right? I should be able to deal with this. All I've got to do is get some of these calls up. So now they're going to go for waterfall. So as you can see, it's a troll set, right? It's a flinching waterfall set with body sand that paralyzed. So at least it is physical, but it's not doing a lot of damage. But, you know, if I get, bad luck, like paralyzed, flinch, paralyzed, flinch, paralyzed, flinch, I'm going to be in a lot of trouble, right? So I'm getting paralyzed, I'm getting flinched, I'm getting even more salty. I'm like, I need to get a rest off here. Firstly, I was actually going to go for, coils, but I was like, nah, I need to go for a rest here, because, my luck is terrible at the moment. So it was bad, right? Like, look at this. Like, after the final game, then I got critted. I'm like, are you serious? But at the very, very last, chancey, I managed to get a rest off. I was like, thank goodness. That was almost like just, I was just sitting, I wasn't even playing the game right. I couldn't even do anything. So now I can actually go for Sleep Talk. And they're going to swap out the Finazon. It's going to turn into a Palafin again afterwards, right? So now we've got the Tropius coming in. This is the theme team as well. All based on, Pokemon that may or may not have, beaten me or died or something like that. And now we're going to go for Sleep Talk here. And I got Iron Tail on Tropius, which is really good, but it didn't do a lot of damage there. But I got a defensive rise, which is really, a drop, which is really, really cool. Now, Tropius can't do much to me at all. I know Tropius pretty well what its moves, so they're probably going to have some sort of troll set, maybe like leech, like stalling sort of set there. So it's got leech seed, but once again, I'm not too worried about leech seed at all. I virtually just need to get enough coils up to take this Tropius out in one hit, because it might be a harvest set, right? It might be harvesting those berries. So usually the harvest sets, it's annoying because they can keep healing back and back and back and getting their berries back, if you're lucky enough and that sort of thing. So the best thing usually, if you can, is to get as many boosts up as possible, right? So set up on them and then, take them out there. So Tropius has I imagine it has maybe a grass move, and then it used this move again. Like the trolls were unstoppable this stream. They were going crazy with healing moves and stuff like that. So I used my favorite healing move, and of course Leech Seed as well. So all right. It's got 2 status moves. It must have some kind of, attacking move, but I imagine it's not going to do a lot of damage. I wasn't really sure what this Tropius said would. And matter of fact, would you like to see an updated Tropius set? Because I haven't done that. That would be, I want to say 10 years ago I may have done that. Maybe more. I wonder what's changed in Tropius since then. I don't know if much has changed, but I wouldn't mind doing a new Tropius sweep. That'd be a good one. If you'd like to see that, let me know in the comments or something like that. I did ask about another Pokemon before. So the move they had was Air Slash. So I can see what they're trying to do here. They're trying to get the outspeed and then flinch me with Air Slash and Leech Seed. I understand what sort of set that is. I totally wouldn't use that myself. So now they're going to go for Air Slash here. It's doing nothing, which is good. And I'm going first, which sort of counters their strategy. All they're really getting out of this is, the Leech Seed, Leech Seed recovery. So they've got Citrus Berry and Harvest, which I knew that was probably going to be the set there. Tropius isn't a bad Pokemon. The problem is it's got a lot of weakness, right? It's got those 4 times weakness. So it's no Executor, but it's still a really fun Pokemon to use. So I finally take out the Tropius there. I'd like to see another Tropius form or an evolution or something or some sort of big buff, right? Last Pokemon to be revealed is Big Daddy, which is Carbink. So I'm like, all right, well, I've got Iron Tail, which is super effective. I've got that. It could be Sturdy. It could be that. I know that I can beat Finazon, right? I know I can do that. So I went for the Iron Tail. I got some good damage there, right? Took it down to 30. It's 4 times super effective. No surprises there. Now, the Carbink is going to have weakness policy, so I couldn't have avoided that. There's no way I could have avoided that. Eventually, I would have had to have activated this weakness policy. Whereas now, if I use Rest, or later down the track if I went for Iron Tail. So all right, that's fair. The only problem here was I had Leech Seed up against me, so I'm like, all right, well, I've got a +2 in attack and special attack. What sort of set is this? Is it physical? Is it special? I've got a Moringa Berry up for my special. If it's a physical set, there's no way they're going to be able to feint me. Unless they had something like Terra Fire, right? That might have a little chance. And it was Terra Fighting, so I'm like, ooh. I don't know whether, like, it'll be close where I live this, right? If it was physical, right? So here it comes. It's got a tiny little fist, and it actually turned out it was actually a special attacking one. So that was enough to take out my Orthworm and finish me off. But man, that was a salty battle. Hope you enjoyed today's video, people. I'll catch ya. Peace.